Red light is on and we are away. What is going on, you dead set legends? And welcome to the Ready Bang, the #1 arm wrestling show on the planet. I'm the host, the Aussie Arm Wrestler, and a very kind of like special edition, a recorded interview. As you can see there, I've got my Mac hat on. We saw on the weekend a Mac event, so I thought, who better to talk about the Mac event than the Mac team? As we go around the room, we can introduce the crew, and you're probably watching this on a premiere on my YouTube channel, so hopefully someone from the Mac team will be watching and can answer some of your questions throughout this podcast, but we'll see how it goes. Over here, as you can see, he's not the president.
Not the president.
He's not the president. So that's good. He's got his Mac singlet on. Some of those singlets were looking class. I got my man, Matthias. Matthias, tell everyone what you do at these Mac events.
I just kind of hang out in the back, just watch the whole thing go down, No, essentially all the production stuff. So all the production complaints, those go all to me. So this time it'll be mostly audio, but yeah.
Audio did play up a bit, but that's all right. But that is all right. Yeah. And then we've got the guy here. He gets really bored, so he just probably by the end of this podcast, he'll have another J in his name. I'm talking about JJ Jackson, Double J, Triple J, whatever you want to call him. He's here.
Right.
JJ, welcome. Do you want to give people a bit of an update of what your role is in the Mac team?
Yeah, what's up, guys? I'm also not the president. But I'm Ian and I are kind of more out front online and stuff. Matthias is probably like the most important of us, if I'm going to be honest, because he does all the stuff that gets the views and the pay-per-views and all that. But at the events, we all, the day of the event, we all are setting up. We're all kind of there doing our thing during the events. Ian and I are walking around making sure that everybody's got what they need and people are in their spots where they're supposed to be, and the athletes are, in the proper location to come out, and all that fun stuff. But other than that, during the off time of events, Ian and I are kind of like the matchmakers. Ian makes the deals, and we're all kind of preparing what we need to do for the event and what we can get to make the event awesome. And there's anyone who's even made or promoted a small event or a small tournament, you understand how much goes into it. So to put something together like the event we just had this weekend, it's there's a lot more people than just the three of us that it takes to make that happen. So
yeah, right. Okay, it is there. And then I think he's just we've got the president, because he's letting us all know. Very disappointing with Ian. It'll always bother me that he lost the Shack, but we've been there. We've had some fun about that. But no, seriously, he is the guy behind it. When you think of Mac, you think of this guy is the one that talks about the table, spreads his event around, and helps organise a great event. Of course, I'm talking about the Grippler, Ian Carnegie. Ian, mate, I'm just putting it out there. You look like you've aged 10 years since the weekend.
Honest to God, everyone that's seen me since the weekend, like I was gone a week, said I've significantly have gone gray in my beard. Seriously. And just so you know, I came up with the table and the name and stuff, but there was so many people that attributed to everything. Like this is like this much of my vision, and everyone else had a big part of it. Matthias, JJ, Andrea, everybody was a big part of it. It's not just me, for sure.
So just quickly, for those that might not know about Mac, Ian, the new design of the table, who came up with the design, and what is the design of the table's main purpose?
Okay, so when you say the new table, you mean the one that we just used, or like, because that's the second iteration of the new table?
Well, take us back from day one.
Okay, well, day one would have been 12 years ago, and I made it. It was just a drawing, and I had like pads across from each other that were depressions. I had the pin pads were basically half circles, like like moons, right? And they were huge. They were huge, and they had no corners. So from that concept, it really, like, every time we built it, we were like, oh, okay, it looks cool, but it's not functional for XYZ. And we literally did that to 9 iterations. Even the Mach 2 table has 4 significant differences. Difference 1, our angled legs are still angled, except they're slightly more vertical. Number 2, the elbow pad, the material had too much flex in it. We changed material so it was a little bit more durable and didn't bunch. 3, the red barrier was double thickness, and it provided a little lip so that when guys would come up, it would push up slightly so that they would know they're actually touching it, because you can touch the red line, you just can't go on top of it. So that helped in figuring out where they were. And 4, the securing lug nuts for the legs, instead of them being inside, where we had to tighten them from the Allen keys, they were on the outside, which made it a lot easier.
There you go.
So four changes.
Okay.
In those, yeah.
Now, before we roll on, one of you appear to have a bit of static going on. Oh, no, it's just...
Oh, you know what? There's cooking going on, and I think that's a frying pan. I'll go back to my room.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Is
I can't.
Is it really loud? Is it really loud?
It's pretty loud. Yeah, it's pretty loud.
Okay, I'll go upstairs then. Sorry, guys.
No, that's all right. That's all right. Well, so
enjoy your bacon.
It's hamburgers, actually.
You got to show it though. You got to show what's cooking before you go.
Oh, all right. This hamburger.
That's the noise.
I mean, it's the best day ever.
People have to eat,
That's all right. So, JJ, I'm going to roll over to you. How did you get involved in Mac? When did you start getting involved?
Probably about a year ago, maybe a little over a year ago. I had started to see some of the prototypes of some of Ian's tables that him and John McAlpine and some of the guys were making up in Canada, and just started commenting on Facebook and on the post about them and how interesting they looked. Ian and I contacted each other, and then we're talking on the phone, and really that's how it started. And him and I, I'm much newer to the sport than Ian, and him and I just kind of hit it off in a friendship, and I just was really supportive of what he was doing, and I kind of liked the vision of the table and even the thought process of why the changes were implemented. And as the weeks and months rolled by, we really shared the vision, and decided to collaborate and become partners.
Beautiful.
Can I just say the Mac president thing that I got there? It's actually Matthias. Look at my icon.
Looks nothing like
it. For me, I can't see.
Oh, you guys can't see what the icon is?
I can. Next to his...
What is it? What is it?
It's you.
Just got bushy eyebrows, glasses, and the mustache.
Oh, is this like a little emoji face?
Yeah.
And he's bald. So
Dude, you're bald too.
Yeah, but I wear glasses. Anyway.
And so, Matthias, you've come on board. You run the website PremStream. We'll get to some good bits and bad bits about that. That's your actual streaming service. When did you team up with Mac? And don't worry, everyone watching, we will get to Mac 3 because it was a killer event. But when did you come on board? When did you start running your own bloody streaming service?
Yeah. Well, the streaming service goes like quite back further than Mac, but when I started working with Ian was actually I was at Devon's one day, and I don't remember how it came up, but Jody had mentioned something about like, hey, our friend Ian, he's working on something cool. It's like I think you guys could do something really cool together. And then she just gave me his contact info, and I think we'd actually met like I think probably about a year or two before that. Ian, when you pulled Pork Chop was the first time we met, I think.
Yeah, I don't remember you, but yep.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, way to make your employees feel loved.
Yeah, but we didn't really know each other then. Like we just kind of met each other in passing a few times, and then we just started talking about what he was doing with Mac, and I went down to Kingston and kind of checked out the table that he had at the time, and we just kind of hit it off and started planning the Mac event, and I think JJ is kind of he's downplaying his involvement. Like he's essentially one of the reasons that the first Mac event even happened, right? Like he provided the venue and everything. So
there you go. Nice tidbit
there.
Yeah. So Mac 3, we're up to our third event in the book. Ian, why are we doing a pay-per-view system? What is the thought process behind running a pay-per-view system?
Well, there's been a lot of complaining in Canada that enormous amounts of talent here, and there's nothing here. And yes, there was AWC, but it just wasn't frequent enough. And I just feel like there's a lot of issues. And plus, I always wanted to do my own league. I started 12 years ago with Major League Arm Wrestling. And this time I was like, but I'm not going to follow the same model that currently exists. To me, it's insane. I think WAF style arm wrestling is amateur. No matter how many top pros you put into an amateur system, it's still an amateur system. And so I said, okay, how do I make this not gay? And I was like, okay, let's put bigger pads for more movement, take away a lot of the safety rules, the supposed safety rules, and take away the long setups and just have maximum bang, right?
Hey.
And the system that we came up with seemed to work. And I'm like, you know what? If you do something really well, you should be paid for it. And I feel like this is going to catch on. And now I got Canadians competing against Americans, and then this last event we opened the doors to the rest of the world too. So we're getting Americans and Canadians. So I guess essentially East versus West, but Mac version, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. So then why a pay-per-view? Why not just live on your YouTube? Why not just live on PremStream? Is it just help to try and help the pullers there? Because you gave away a lot of prize money, especially at the right time when everyone's talking about arm wrestlers not getting paid.
Well, look, I don't want to speak on other people's misfortunes or how they do things, but I will say this. At Mac, when you arrive, whatever was agreed to will be in an envelope handed to you by either myself or JJ, and within hours, okay? And that wasn't a thing that we did because we felt like, oh, these people are doing this, or we just did it like from day one. And also because when I was a pro arm wrestler, I always had this feeling in the back of my head, like, man, when are you going to settle up, And, I was never easy until the money, right? And it was like, you know what? Give them the money right away and they can relax. They can be themselves and they can, do you know what I mean? But yes, we'd like to make a pay-per-view. We'd like to charge for seating because we'd like to recoup some of our investment.
Yeah, like there's nothing wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I just because I just like to think I like some of the behind the scenes stuff. I like some of the thought processes behind it because a lot of people are running events and I want
if you really want to know, if you really want to know, at this moment, what do we do with our profits, JJ?
Well, if and when there's profits, like there was from this one, it will be going fully into the next event and anything we need to run and the next set of athletes, and that's where the profits go.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah,
beautiful.
And I think what Jake's trying to ask is, like why the pay-per-view model instead of like another way to make money via sponsors and stuff. And I think the answer to that is really just the other avenues of revenue just aren't quite there yet to facilitate it, right?
Yeah. No, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we have high level athletes, and we want the best athletes from around the world, and
just not the best announcers or commentators.
That's the way to get that.
You just don't want the best announcers or commentators. I see how it is. I see. Hey, focusing on the athletes, the guys that are pulling and putting their training and their bodies on the line. I see how it is. I see how it is. No, only joking.
You still got that trophy, right? You got to put that on the line at some point.
Mate, my trophy has its own trading card. So come at me, bro. Come at me. But Matthias, I do want to get stuck into you. I want people to get an understanding, because from my view, it looked like basically a two-man show, audio, visual, everything. And you knew yourself the audio wasn't projecting great. How hard is it?
Yeah.
Well, one, did you figure out what the problem was? And two, how hard is it on the fly, whilst the culmination of all your hard work, to try and do it without stopping the pay-per-view and going, right, guys, here we go?
Yeah, so the biggest issue is monitoring the audio when you're in the room so close to where the action is, right? So if you're like, obviously it's a financial limitation, right? Like if you can have like a van, or like they have like in the bigger productions that are outside of the actual venue, where they essentially wire everything in and then you can get kind of isolated there. It's a lot easier to kind of monitor the audio exactly how it's going to go to the live stream. But yeah, behind the scenes, we're a super, super small team, right? Like there's myself, there's Adam, which is helping on the production side. So he's the guy who's essentially picking 90% of the camera angles. We had a couple of volunteers this time that helped out, and then we have the camera guys. So we also had somebody who was doing the audio side of things as far as the speakers and playing the music. But that's it. Like we're just a really super, super small team. And I think the next time around we'll have somebody specifically managing the audio board. Because one of the problems is I'm doing all kinds of things, right? So like if one of the cameras goes down, I'm the guy who has to run in there, replug whatever batteries or whatever. If a mic starts to fail, I got to figure that out. We had we didn't use it too much, but we had a remote camera that was on a gimbal that's controlled remotely via tablet. And some of those shots came on the pay-per-view, but a lot of them didn't. And I think we'll probably release some of that footage after the fact, because it is really, really cool. But yeah, so essentially any technical issue that's happening, I'm the one essentially having to do that. And every time I have to leave the audio mixer, most of the time I'm putting it on a setting where I think it's pretty safe. But ideally the audio is more dynamic, right? Like we don't want to have the announcers talking over the refs, for example. And this time around, we did set up a monitor for the commentators, but for whatever reason, it worked fine when we were testing it. But then when we actually brought it to the live setup, there was some sort of delay. So I don't know if you've ever listened to yourself on like a half-second delay before.
Oh, it's the worst.
Yeah, it's the worst, right? It makes you feel like your IQ points are dropping and you can't talk properly. Like as it's a really weird feeling. Yeah. So unfortunately, I don't know what the configuration change was, because I don't know if you've seen what the setup we have. Most of the main equipment I essentially have in 2 giant boxes, and then we essentially just place that on the table. We open it up, and then more or less we just kind of connect everything, and then most of the time goes into fine-tuning things and, obviously running the cameras. And we're running more and more cameras wirelessly now, which definitely saves on the setup time. But wireless cameras, anybody who's played with them, they come with other problems. So like one of the cameras that we had, something was interfering with it, and it went down like twice during the show. And it's, it's a pain in the ass in a different way, right? But yeah, so it's, I guess to answer the question, we're really small, so a really, really small team behind the scenes, and we're trying to do a lot with a little. So like all of the camera equipment that we have, it's kind of at the top end of where we can afford and also have, a ton of them. And that's why the quality is, it's pretty good. It's obviously not the same as like if you're using like a cinema camera or something, but I think as far as arm wrestling goes and kind of what we're presenting, I feel like the video quality is, I think it's pretty good. But yeah, there are some things on the audio side of things that do need to be addressed. And I think the next show, I think every issue that we had this time, based on changes that we've made from the last 2 shows, should be addressed by the next show with a different set of mics and then a different configuration with the mixer board. And I think, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
And Jake, I will say, to what Matthias was saying, one of the most impressive things to see if you come to a Mac event is watch Matthias, because he runs in and out of his command center, figuring out every little problem, and like he said, every little battery change or anything that's got to go. So to stand by his command center that he's got there with his little team, and to really appreciate what he's doing and dealing with on the fly. It's pretty impressive to watch, because he flies in and out.
I've seen him in work. I've seen Matthias live. I've been there. I've been there while commentating and watching him run around.
Exactly.
Oh, it's incredible.
Yeah, it's wild.
Oh, it's yeah. I quite enjoy it. But while I've got you, AJ, what were 3 things you absolutely loved about Mac 3? And give me a couple of things that you would love to tune up and make a bit better, or introduce for Mac 4.
Wait, who are you asking that to? Me?
Yeah, you, JJ.
Oh, you want to know some things I loved about it?
Yeah, give me a couple of things that you love, and what would be a couple of things you'd love to fine tune.
Yeah. First of all, with this event, I loved that we had a collaboration with Table Monkeys, and they brought their tough competition, which is the Team Arm Wrestling Federation event, which is what you saw at the start of the pay-per-view. And we had a Team Ontario versus Team New York that started the show, which I think was a really nice aspect to that. And working with Jason Costantini and Alex during the collaboration of this was a lot of fun. But I think that was kind of one of the highlights, having those their team event starting off the pay-per-view. And then once this event started, it wasn't originally supposed to be such a big event. We got the Auden match, and then we ended up getting a lot of the bigger names, and we got Coach Ray to help out. So overall, it was just a pretty humbling and fun experience to do all that.
Well, speaking of the team event, and I'll say this from the dearest of my heart, I think it was a great idea. I just don't think it was executed the best. I come from a team sport background, so I was excited for it. But then when I watched Darrell Staken pull Mike Gulmarty 10 times, now that could be a lack of me understanding the rules, but I think if you bring that back and shorten that team event, I think it could be a great opening segment.
Can I interject there?
Of course you can.
That was our fault, but It's because it's only been done a few times, and the first time it was done, it was absolutely incredible. But what we did by making a collaboration is we condensed. It's actually meant to be longer, but it's meant to have much more pullers. So there was no the redundancy we didn't realize was going to happen in Mach 3 because there was no real redundancy in the original one. And we did that because we knew that we couldn't take the entire pay-per-view time for the Mac team. And in cutting the initial way of doing it, it was a bad result for that, and I feel bad about that.
So
Do you know what I mean?
it's trial and error. You know what I mean? Like, I think the majority of people still really enjoyed the pay per view. I think it was like, hey, this is a cool. It took an arc. It was like, hey, this is a cool concept. Oh, we've had a couple of banger matches. Oh, I don't know who that guy is. Like, one guy that was very impressive was Jamie Staken. I'm a big fan of Jamie Staken, and from Ontario, the very tall. Yes, he was very impressive. So, like, you hit that arc, and then it's like, oh, it's still going. Oh, it's Jamie and Brandon again. Oh, it's Darrell and Michael. Yeah, can we just start it? So I personally, and I'm sure everyone watching this will have their say as well, the idea of it, I'm looking forward to more of them, whether they're part of Mac or just purely on Table Monkeys. Shout out to those guys because you're both trying something new. But that's just my feedback for it.
What I think we're going to be doing is using a tier system. We haven't exactly set this in stone, but we'll have regular all elimination, no elimination tournaments for everyone to participate. Then we'll get a little bit more professional with the team, but it'll only be the team, and we'll do it right for them and not necessarily pay-per-view. And then the pay-per-views will be what we're meant to do. You know, the Mac. Is that, do I have that right, guys? Is that how we kind of look?
Yeah, that's how it goes. And like we said before, I mean, what's nice about what we've been doing, this was only our third event, and every event, you know, you see what works really well, you see what needs some adjustments, and you make those as you go. So that's all part of you know, learning and growing as the company too, you know.
Yeah, right. And Matthias, what would you like extra in a dream world? You know, what would you like extra to help you out through the pay-per-views? Because you had the graphics down the bottom, you had the scores later on in the event, you started banging out some replays. I'm assuming this is all you, correct me if I'm wrong. So
Yes.
what would be a couple of nice little dream things that you would love to have for Mac 4?
Yeah. So the replays, I actually have like a little replay board that the commentators are supposed to use, but they didn't want to do it. So I essentially started doing the replays as well. But yeah, so there
you go.
Honestly, in an ideal world, just more preparation and more pre-production stuff. Like, so more pre-production as in content that's coming out towards the event, and then content that could be not live content to play like during the event, right? So like one of the things that we wanted to do for this event, but there was no time, which hopefully for the next SMAC event, we will have time to do it, is, you know, like boxing and UFC does those like on the way to the ring and like before the fight where it kind of shows, you know, some documentary style footage of the fighters training and leading up to it. Like, I'd like to start doing more pre-production stuff to kind of, you know, show who the guys are that some people, especially people that don't know about arm wrestling, right? Like, kind of shows more what these guys are all about, right? Because there's a lot of dudes on that card that are like awesome. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm a homer, but you know, a lot of the Ottawa guys, obviously, you know.
Yeah.
But there's, but yeah, there's a lot of dudes that are super super awesome, and they kind of showed that at the event. But a lot of people that you know might not know those guys because they're not familiar with the Ottawa guys, or maybe they're newer to arm wrestling. I want to show people more about like who these people actually are, and then start helping those guys, like, you know, boost their reputation in the sport and their social media and stuff, like through the MAC events once the MAC gets to, you know, that level where there's a lot of eyeballs on it, right?
Yeah, well, there was one athlete. I've got his name down here. I thought it was brilliant. Mike Hitt.
Yeah.
So he's someone
yeah.
I'd like to know more about. I
Yeah.
mean, his hit was that strong. He has to put 2 T's in his last name. Like that's how impressive I thought he was.
What a perfect name for an arm wrestler, right?
Yeah.
Hit with 2 T's.
What a perfect saying that he just said for him.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And Mike, if you are watching, yes, you can chuck that on a T-shirt. That can be your persona. That could be your catchphrase. That is my gift to you, son.
Listen, I'm gonna make sure that he hears this. I'll screen record that particular thing and send it to him.
He'll be watching the bloody premiere live. That's what he'll be doing. He'll set his bloody watch and he'll be watching it right now. None of this screen record garbage. Mike, you better be in the chat.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, out of in terms of educational purposes, for myself, that dude, he educated the fuck out of me on who just the fuck he was. Do you know what I mean? Like, I really thought Matt was gonna win because Matt is a monster, and this guy really let me know that there's levels to this shit. Like, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, Matt Scorpion Smith's no slouch.
And he feels strong right now too. He's really strong right now.
Yeah, he is, but he's going through some crazy stuff, and I just don't think his head was there. But Matt, I don't think it would have mattered. I think Mike is just that good.
Yeah. Ian, forget the team event. Were you happy because from conversations we've had, the MAC table was introduced to speed up the process? You know what I mean? Not long drawn out events or matches that are just taking forever and setups. Do you believe from when the super matches started to when they finished, were you happy with the time? Were you happy with the flow of things? I rated it like if we didn't have the team event, I could have watched arm wrestling. I think it went for about 90 minutes, which then would have made me wanting more Mac. It wasn't like in the end, I think it was 4.5 hours all up. But like, I think if you do Mac, which is the suit matches, 10 to 12 suit matches, it'll want me wanting more. I'm left wanting more.
13 in less than 2.5 hours. So yeah.
Yep. So now,
of course.
And I'll get all your opinions on this one. Of course, I'll start with the president because he'll fire me if I don't start with him. Is the concept with this idea that you're getting through matches quick, which is great, is the idea to still have your 4 or 5 hour event and get 20 people on the card? Or do you want to go, hey guys, we've got this car crash killer event, reminds me of like the Attitude Era Monday Night Raw where, you come in, there was a match, boom, there was another match, and you had after 8 matches on Raw, I couldn't wait till next Monday night. Is it book more matches and sit in the 4-hour time limit, or keep Mac with this new thing?
Okay, so forgive me, but we have a lot of different opinions on this, and we are coming to somewhat of consensus. I see the point others make when they say, make it 10 matches, get it done in a time frame that you could promote to television in a 2-hour block. Totally get it. Also, I look at it, if we did 20 something or 30 something matches in 4 hours, we could edit it in a manner that now we have 2 shows in one that we could sell, depending on how you look at it, you know what I mean? So take 20, 10, 15 matches, the first one, and put that on TV. And then after pay-per-view, do you get what I mean, Jake?
I think so. So would we only see the 10 matches on pay-per-view, but you might have 20 matches all up and they're done beforehand? Or are you wanting
the pay-per-view would have all the matches, but when we have, I don't know if I'm supposed to say certain things, so that's the problem. Yeah. There's, you know what I mean? There's some opportunities for different platforms that we could be using that require time restraints and just how we go about doing that. But whatever it is, we know we can accommodate, because there's things that we do like after match commentary. Maybe that's not as necessary. There's a lot of things we can do. Plus, I think the referees were a little bit slower than normal, only because we had the worst luck. Our two best referees, Bart Wood and Dave Knox, they're everything to us, right? And neither of them could do it, so we had all rookie referees.
Were they busy?
Say again, sorry.
Were Dave and Bart busy?
Yeah, well, Bart had a prior engagement in the United States, and Dave is a professional caterer that had a major event that he couldn't break.
Nice.
He came the night before at the press conference to assist all the referees and trying to help them get to understand what is expected. But it's a lot to ask. Hey, we got this pay-per-view event. It's massive. Do you want to try this new, completely different reffing style? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think
fair enough.
For what they were able to do, I thought they did a great job.
Yeah, it was just flowing through, and I think half of it was just not the viewership not understanding all the rules fully. But that's okay. That's not on you. I mean, there's things we can do about that. I think that's on a lot of us understanding. JJ, so you were talking about it. Are you for or against 20 matches?
Well, my opinion, I lean towards the less matches. I lean towards 10 or 12 or maybe 14. In general, I mean, there's exceptions if you got different things going on, but I think that's a good, like you mentioned, make it in a reasonable time that people can sit and consume in one sitting, and they don't have to sit there all afternoon or make a day of it, and they can just watch it like, another 2 or 3 hour sporting event. I think that's very palatable. I think that's enjoyable for people to sit down for that amount of time as opposed to 4 to 6 hours, so there's a balance, and it depends on the venue and the opportunities of who's able to pull and who can't. But in general, I'm a fan of a 2 to 2.5 hour event with just a stacked bunch of amazing super matches that go in a timely, quick, fun fashion. Yeah, for sure.
Nice. And what about you, Matthias?
No doubt. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, the real reason that Ian wants long events, he just likes to see me struggle a little bit. I think that's all it is.
No,
yeah.
What it is, sorry, can I just interject? Also, you don't know the pressure I'm under. As soon as a MAC event is stated, I get 1,000 match requests on Facebook.
Oh, and cool.
I get 900.
Because everyone wants that rock star treatment. They want their flights paid for, and Max an opportunity, because you've given a chance for pullers some of us might not have known. Like, I learned a lot about some new pullers. I'm a big fan of a few people that pulled at the Mac, and I see it all the time with all the promotions. They want that. They want to be paid. They want that rock star, because they might not ever have an opportunity to get it again.
Ian is popular. He has a lot of connections. He's been in the sport a long time, and he's such a nice guy. He really just wants to accommodate everyone who's supportive of us, which we all do. But there also has to be a sensible limit to each card, just for a lot of reasons. And we're going to have a lot of these events, and people might have to wait, an event or two to get on. But Ian is such a nice guy. Like I said, he wants to really pack everyone on a card, which is understandable. But,
and if the team event wasn't on or went for as long as it did, like those 13 matches, in my mind, just breezed through. They just breezed through.
Yeah.
So that was good.
There was like 13, I think. So that's probably like the range. That's a good singular event, you know.
Well, that's all right.
Yeah, like I think a good compromise in the future will be to have like a lower production requirement prelim, that we can stream free on YouTube, and then guys that maybe aren't quite ready for the full time, the real pay-per-view event, they can compete, and maybe we can just have like a ton of prelims, and that'll be a good opportunity to train the judges and kind of get some kinks worked out for the actual pay-per-view event. So maybe that's how we can squeeze more matches in the future. Have like an hour or two of free prelims, and then like we essentially have like the same kind of card that we had this time minus the team event as the pay-per-view.
The reason I like that a lot is because even though we're a professional arm wrestling league, I also want to accommodate basically all but novice, right? Like, so competitive.
Mm-hmm.
I think novices need to go to novice tournaments and become good amateurs. But I think we can accommodate good amateurs that are ready to be semi-pro who are ready to be pro. And I think that's what the prelims could do. And I think the graduated system really worked for MAC 3 because we had in the prelim of MAC 2, we had a 6-man round robin that was 200 pounds. And we said the top 2 finishers of that would get a shot at the next MAC on the main card. And that was Blake Bouillon and Matt Oliver. Blake Bouillon won the MAC 2 6-man round robin.
Undefeated.
And then he became a real professional and won in the big lights camera action 3-0 in dominant fashion.
You talking about Matt, not Blake?
Matt won.
Yeah.
Did I say Blake won?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, the reverse happened, essentially.
Yeah.
But Matthias, main event. You got devonlarratt on the card. You got Artem Taranenko on the card. Was there, Devon's turned up, Coach Ray. What was the feeling like at the event, and what were your thoughts on the whole main event and all the lead up to it and the aftermath afterwards?
Yeah, no, I think it was good. Like it would have been nice if it went a little bit longer, obviously, if there was a little bit more competent, but like Artem, see, that's the thing that kind of annoys me, right? Because you read on the internet, it's like, oh, Artem doesn't, arm wrestle real arm wrestlers, and everybody's like, oh, Artem's not even in the same weight class. It's like, guys, like Artem's like super, super good.
Yeah.
And now it's everything's the opposite, like, Auden was never even any good to begin with, of course everybody's gonna run through him. So you look at Reddit and they're all celebrating it, and
he won the super heavyweight divisions, both arms, and he's not even a super heavyweight. So how about we all shut the fuck up? Like Auden took a big bite here.
It's a really hard match for him, and I think he knew that was kind of, it was going to be a hard one. But obviously, I don't think anybody thought that Artem was just going to be able to press through him like that.
I'll tell you one thing. It's not so much for Auden, but him losing was the best thing for Mac. Now, I know you didn't set him up to fail or anything like that. And
no.
Auden and the family love each other. I was speaking to him the other day. But because when people hate something, they voice it more. So for a hot minute, all the forums. Like if Mac 3 was a hit, you'd get a few people go, oh my God, what a great event. How good was that?
Yeah.
But the fact that Auden lost filled your Facebooks, your Reddits, your Instagrams and things like that.
Yeah.
So for a hot minute, everyone was talking about Mac.
Yeah, fair enough. It's just like
it's shit what the internet did.
I hate seeing people post stuff like that.
Of course,
so it is what it is. Yeah,
of course. But your eyes wide. No, I think they're just all germs. Like got nothing better to do, and we're just waiting for someone to fail.
Yeah,
Auden would have won. I feel like people would have said it was fake news. And that's unfortunate.
Yeah, because Auden's working his ass off. Artem Taranenko can go. I've seen him live in tournaments. Artem is awesome. So
and And he looked really ready, right? Like you could even see him in the press conference. Like he looks like a little mutant walking around. Like he was really, really ready for that match.
What JJ? What matches impressed you at this event? And is there someone that you would love to have at Mac 4? It can be a well-known person, or it can be someone we're not familiar with.
Well, first of all, yeah, a lot of the matches impressed me. One of the, I think it's probably one of the best matches that's not even an argument was Jason Costantini versus Pork Chop, left-handed at the event. That was back and forth, and probably one of the best matches of any of our MAG events so far, or maybe any events this year so far. So that was probably the most impressive one. I was also, really impressive with Milo.
Yep.
I think because he had fought Shaker, however you say his name, Shaker.
Yep.
A couple times before, and I think they were 1-1, and they were both very competitive and close in tournaments and whatever. So I really think it was nice to see him take a match so seriously and really prepare and shows what he can do when he's focused and focusing on arm wrestling and training. So there was a lot of good other matches. John Tyrion, he's always impressive. You never know left-handed how people are going to do, especially when they're so dominant right-handed. And the joke was he's like 0-20 in left-handed super matches or whatever. But I was impressive because he beat a stud. So that was another one that was very impressive. If I thought longer, I could probably think of more. But those are the ones that come to mind, especially Jason's. I mean, for him to get off that table and be drenched in sweat and have to sit down to do the interview and just literally left everything at the table. I think that was even Pork Chop was respectful of that of the way that match went afterwards, and Jason. So that was a great match.
He did matches because nobody really knew the guys, but I'll tell you, I knew him. He was a WAL puller. It's just he's so quiet that people forget was Shea Dickey and Joseph Spolja.
Yeah.
The Spolja boy. Yeah. Yeah, that was a good match. I gave that match of the night.
Oh wow! Over Jason and Porky.
Yep, only because I thought Jason's King's move was just a bit too low. Like it looked like he was almost sitting on the floor, and I was like, nah. Shay and that, it was a great match. Don't get me wrong, and I'm a King's move fan. But I thought it was just a bit too low. But I still thoroughly enjoyed it. But I gave the edge to Shay and the Spolja boy.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, that was a great one.
Not a knock on Jason or Curtis. Not at all.
I'll tell you, though, live, for me, it was the greatest exhibition of, heart and determination, and neither guy wanted to give anything, and you should have seen the hand of Pork Chop. It looked like it went through a wood chipper, and I was legit concerned for Jason Constantini's life. I thought his blood pressure was high, and I had been in that.
He didn't look right afterwards.
It looked like he might have had to go to the hospital. I kept saying you should maybe go talk to the nurse there and just have your vitals checked, and it was concerning, and that is why I have such respect for Jason. I mean Porky too, but that's another Porky being in those grinders seems to be like an everyday thing now. But Jason, he touched his central nervous system in a way I'm sure he's never done before.
Oh, look, give me Pork Chop, extra gravy, every event. Huge Curtis Cameron fan here.
Yeah.
That is for sure. I've got to stop calling him Curtis Cameron because it just reminds me of the Growing Pains show. Matthias, you might be a bit too young for that, but a bit of Kirk Cameron action. No, I honestly, guys, I thought if you take it, like if it was a separate team event and a separate Mac event, I thought both were done a bit well. Obviously, with every single event, things can be fine tuned. I thought that the matches going really quick. I loved a few people that opened the door when opportunity knocked. Yeah, Mike Hitch, your Shea Dickies. Just trying to. I've got the results here.
What about
even Milo, came and knocked. He took on someone, destroyed him. So things like that were just, for me, heightening the event. I did get worried because it wasn't until the fifth match that wasn't a sweep. I was like, oh no, hopefully the Mac events aren't quick because they're all sweeps. But long behold, for me, it was a great event.
I think we're going to be sweep heavy because of how hard it is to get fluky wins, right? Like when you're stuck with an opponent that's stronger than you and it's difficult to foul out, we're gonna get a lot of 3-0s. And you know what? I'm okay. I don't like inflated BS match results anyway. You see 3-1, 3-2, and clearly the other guy's stronger, but because he farted at the wrong time, he got a foul. That doesn't impress me at all. So when you do see a 3-1, 3-2, in Mac, that it was a perfectly matched match. My question to you though, what did you think of Coach Ray's involvement? And did it add anything, like him being a competitor and jumping from mic to commentary? Like, what did you think?
First of all, Ian, you're the Mac president. You're not the Aussie Arm Wrestler president. I ask the questions on the show. Just know your role, okay? You're sitting there. You're in bed. You don't even have the decency to sit on a chair. No, I'm only joking. I like Coach Ray and I are friends. I like Coach Ray. I think he's a very important part of arm wrestling. Did he need to be commentating and post-match interviews? Probably not, because you had Coach Ray competing, and people forget Coach Ray's a stud. He can hang and bang.
Total beast.
So for me, I thought that was enough, because when we watch other promotions, Ray's doing that. So I know Ray can do it there. Where Mac has a point of difference, where we've got a different table. We're trying, some unknown people, whether they're announcers or commentators. It could have been good for the other commentator to work with someone at Ray that has been there at the top. But for me, it really didn't require Ray to do so much. You got to get the promotion on his channel because he's just a good dude, wants to promote it. But I think the X factor was getting Ray to compete, which I thought was great.
Okay.
Yeah, and it sucks that you don't see him compete more, right? Because he's usually really one of my favorite arm wrestling matches is actually him against Masvahir.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I love seeing the guy compete. So it's unfortunate that he's not able to compete.
Were you at that one, Jake? I thought you were at that one.
No, that was the very first one. That was during all the lockdowns. I was there when Ray pulled Engen, and I was there when Ray pulled... His name's on the tip of my tongue. He was the...
Ryan Bowen.
No, that wasn't a king of the table. He gave everyone the bloody... what was the thing for a while? Stem cells. What was his name?
Adam something?
Handsome looking fella. I can't remember his name. Why can't I remember him? Oh, Robert Carstendine. Robbie Carstendine.
I don't even remember that match.
Oh.
Yeah, me either.
Well, there you go. Maybe I'm not doing my job properly. Look, for Mac 4, I would probably bring me over because I'm a stud. No. So there are some good things that are there. And guys, and another reason why I wanted to do this, if you do have genuine feedback, which a lot of the people that support the channel do, I'm sure you're dropping it in this premiere already. Hopefully some of these guys are in the comments answering your questions. But drop some of your genuine feedback. If it's about booking Artem Taranenko, I don't want to hear it because clearly the guy sells pay-per-views, and we're going to get to the pay-per-views with these guys in a moment. But if you've got genuine, these guys aren't just on their phone. They can come to this video and go, all right, there were 30 comments about we need more scoreboard or more replays or less matches, more matches.
Yeah.
So we can get a consensus here. You all guys drop it.
You know what? We only listen to the comments of people that are already subscribed to the Mac channel.
That's right. That's right. Well, that's where I want to come in. Speaking of the Mac channel, just looking at the time, we have been going for a little bit. Matthias, I'm noticing you're letting the athletes release footage. I noticed some people are sharing footage that's already gone out on. Like, have we accidentally dropped the ball here and not putting everything on the Mac?
No, it should all be on the. I don't want to get into it too much, but yeah, like there was some mistakes made. It's not going to happen again. Nobody's going to be putting any matches out anymore. Otherwise, we'll copyright strike them.
You put, unfortunately, JJ, you need to point a different way because
wrong way. This way.
There we go. Now you're pointing this on. Okay, no, that's all right. But this is why because I was having a look and then I was about to tag Ian and go, man, someone's filmed your main event and chucked it on Instagram. But then I realised it was shared by Ian Carnegie, and I was like, oh, okay. Once again, he's got an agreement with.
Oh, the main event. Autumn's match got put out too.
No, well, someone filmed it from behind on their phone and chucked it on an Instagram story. Not the whole match, just like a bit of it. But
yeah. Okay, yeah.
So everyone watching, go over Major Arm Wrestling Championships. I'll have the link in the description. Go and subscribe there because if their channel, if it's not already monetized, can we get it monetized so then they can build it up and build something? Because we're not going to talk about budgets or money, but I imagine a lot of money was spent on this event, and when it gets ripped and everything like that, it's these guys. You're pointing the wrong way, Ian.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's craft dinner and bologna for the next 8 months for everybody, I think.
PB&J.
Yeah. So JJ, I don't want to know numbers. I don't want to know prices or anything.
Yeah.
Pay-per-view numbers. Bad. Broke even. Fantastic.
Really good.
Nice. Good. Good, because it's hard, man. It's hard selling pay-per-views.
I would like to say one thing quick. I know we're wrapping up here.
No,
I think
we can talk forever.
Overall, this interview might have gave a bad rap on the team part of this event. Like Ian said earlier, Jason Costantini worked really hard on making this abbreviated version of this. So this wasn't the typical way it goes. This wasn't the normal amount of team members that it has. So this was the first time we tried to do like an abbreviated version of it. So in general, this is a very fun event. It gets the crowd really into it. It's a very, very good concept, and I know it's going to be, very successful, and we're going to do more things like this in the future. So, I just want people to know that. I don't want it to.
And apologies to Jason if my comments have come off a bit too negative. Because I want to see more of it. I think it's got legs.
No, it's a very fun idea.
I think it's got potential. I just think when we were watching, it just got to a stage where we were ready to get the super matches going. We wanted to see a bit of pork chop and Jerome Land and things like that. And we were all having a laugh during my commentary that Darrell pulled Michael for the 10th time. So, don't misconstrue anything I said. I think it's got legs. I want to see more. Thank you for reiterating that, JJ, because I don't want to be shitting on people's hard work.
Ozzy, did you see the crowd that was in the house though?
Did look good. It
was insane. It was insane.
I'll tell you this. There's a certain very popular promotion out there that After their third show, it wasn't like that, my friend. Wasn't like that.
Looked packed.
That's all Ian's gonna say.
Yeah. I think maybe we'll release some of the because we essentially have all the raw footage from all the different cameras. Oh, what's going on with my camera here? That's weird.
Your hand are focused on it.
Yeah. The crowd was insane. And I think some of the audio issues we were having was essentially trying to do noise canceling on the fly because people were just screaming the entire time. Like
Good.
Coach Ray's match, for example, I don't think the decibel level ever came down. Like the entire time, the second that guy got on stage, people were screaming. Milo's match, the second he starts walking out, people just were screaming the whole time, like literally the whole time. And then almost every match, there was a couple matches where the crowd kind of died down a little bit, because I think someone had to go to the washroom at the same time. But the majority of the time, people just were not at a normal decibel level. Like people were really, really, really amped the entire time, beginning to end.
That's what you want. That's what you want. Yeah. Very happy to hear that. Very happy. A couple of times it did pan across through the crowd. It looked like a packed house.
So, it was a great vibe in there. The energy was really fun to be there live in person.
Yeah. Jake, if we would have added 10 more people, it would have been extremely uncomfortable. It took me a half an hour to get to the bathroom.
It looked uncomfortable anyway, because it looked pretty packed. Yeah. Like it got to a stage where there was too many people on the stage.
Yeah.
Where I was just thinking, right, get them off. Like, but that's other things I'll talk to you guys off camera about. But I thought it was a home run.
One thing real quick, because remember when you texted me and you said like, hey, there's no audio. Yeah, it was supposed to be a coming back screen, but there were so many people in there. Somebody had bumped onto the production board and pushed the go button when it wasn't supposed to have been.
Yeah, because you were introducing all those guys, and I was like, "There's no audio." Like, what's going on?
That wasn't supposed to be there. No, that was supposed to be out. Yeah.
There you go. Just quickly, because we've just hit over an hour, we'll go around the room. That's a great story. Are there any fun or bad behind-the-scenes stories to just give people a bit of an understanding what curveballs can be thrown, like a car getting stolen maybe? Is there any examples of something like that? Because a lot of the times, as we all know, running events just doesn't go smoothly. Ian, I may as well start with you. This is an incredible story.
I'll do a good one and a bad one.
Love it. Okay. Do your homework, other two. You got to beat these stories.
Let's start with the good. John Milne came up to me and he's like, dude, you got to do something. Okay, what's that something? He's like, we got like 8 legends of the sport right in this room. You need to go get them on stage, because we never know if we'll ever have these guys together in one room again.
Yeah, right.
So I run from the upstairs, like the lounge for the athletes. I nearly slipped down the stairs, which would have been funny, because I would have literally rolled down. I'm running to the stage. I know there's a break because it was like right before the super matches and the team event. So I had time, right? So I get the mic. I call up Devon Larratt. I call up Troy Eaton, Pat Mastrangelo, not Garth Carlson, but
Crazy George, Mike Gould,
Crazy George, Earl Wilson. Yeah. And I had them all there, and I gave them a little homage, and so that was the good thing. And it was kind of like, did I say Mike Gould too? Mike Gould?
Yeah, I said Mike Gould. Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. And I was very, very touched by that, and I was super happy to see them at our event. And then the funny thing that like everyone loves teasing me about is the morning of the event. I get up at 5 a.m. because we had to go over there and set up. Even though the event started at 2 p.m., we needed every minute of it, right? So I go come out of my hotel, and I go outside and walk over to where my car is supposed to be parked. I'm not even looking at it. I'm just walking. I'm on my phone, and I'm walking, and I like walk, and I walk into where my car is supposed to be, and I'm like, the car's gone. And I don't think it's stolen immediately because my son's with me. So he has his license. So I thought maybe, he moved it, right? And so I'm hitting the panic button, walk around the parking lot, and I'm like, well, shit. Someone lifted my truck. And I had to deal with that the morning of the event.
Wow.
Dodge Durango, not happy. It's not like my insurance company is going to give me another new Dodge Durango.
That's insane. Well, top that, Matthias. You got any other tidbits?
Well, to start my day, I didn't wake up at 6, but we got up at we didn't get up at 5. We got up at about 6, and we started going downstairs, and carrying all the equipment to my car, and I look over and I see Ian, and his face is like completely white. He's just kind of like staring off into the distance, and he just. It wasn't like a look of like mad. It was just like there was something was going on. And so I asked him, I was like, "Oh, hey, like everything good?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't want to bother you with this right now." And I'm like, "Well, it's like I'm kind of bothered. Like something's clearly wrong. Like you look really upset." And then he starts explaining to me that the car's gone, and I didn't even know how to react to it. I was like, "Well, maybe he just parked it in the wrong place or something." He's like, "No." He's like, "It's gone. Somebody took it." And honestly, like there's a lot of other things going on behind the scenes. I'm going to say Ian really did pull it together. Like he had to go through a lot to get ready for this event. And he's, this was just another thing to kind of top it off. And he was able to power through. Like I've seen other people deal with less stuff than he did. And they would have just walked away and quit and gave
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would have been insane. Well, we've lost JJ. Bloody Ian's playing funny buggers. But what I'll do, guys, is I will tie. What's that?
Can you put this charge on my phone's?
Oh, I don't think he thinks he's live anymore. I think he thinks he's out.
We'll tie a bow in this one. They can watch it a bit later and say thank you. You got my man Matthias in there. He's a part of the Mac team. What you need to do is head over, go to the major Arm Wrestling Championships, watch all their videos and support them. Let's get them monetized. Let's get them up and about, because you watching could be on a Mac card. Give us all your feedback, thoughts and concerns. Tell us what worked. Tell us what didn't work, and we'll have a bit of fun. And Matthias can tell everyone the date for Mac 4
before the end of the year.
Yes, that's all I wanted to know. That's all
I would say, end of summer, beginning of fall. I think, Beautiful way to end.